Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream, a murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything once branded, the symbol of the curse, an augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drang Lake. Perhaps you're familiar. No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why. Like a moth drawn to a flame, your wings will burn in anguish, time after time. For that is your fate, the fate of the cursed.
Hey, what's up guys? The Ominous Pebble here, coming at you again with some more Dark Souls 2. In this video, I'm going to be running through the first level and area of Dark Souls 2, going into the first boss fight, and I'm going to be doing it in a walkthrough-esque type commentary, so as to help you guys get through the area better and faster. In this commentary, I'll have you note that it is not for new players and or newbies at the game, first time players. This is for the more experienced Dark Souls player. We will be joining a covenant called the, I believe it's called, so something to do with the champions. And in this covenant, we will essentially be making this game extremely more difficult. In that we won't be getting as much souls, and the enemies will be aggroed faster, and they will do more damage. So I'm gonna let you guys watch the next clip, and I'll tune in after.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name? At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
So in this playthrough, I decided to go with the bandit, because I feel that it's very versatile in the fact that it's diversified in its stats, and the ability to use the bow so early on is really attractive to me, and will allow me just to be more fluid in my gameplay. And so I ended up just sticking with the bandit for this playthrough. You can choose something different, but to me the bandit seems like the wiser choice for a more of a safe kind of playthrough.
All people come here for the same reason, to break the curse.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance. Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
So already by the old hags, we're told of the dismay that, kind of engulfs this land, and that we will meet. We will die, we will lose our souls, but we'll try to keep it to a minimum in this playthrough. The essentials are extremely important, and that's what I will be showing. The most basic necessities that you're going to need throughout this playthrough, and just how to survive the longest and to not die as often. So what I did in this video is I just cut down all the fat, trimmed it down, and made it just essentials, and kind of skipped all the running around. You don't need to see that. If you're an experienced Dark Souls player, and you want to learn how to live, how to survive longer, how to be better, you don't want to see all the running around. And I mean, in-depth playthroughs have been done hundreds of times, and I'm just here for the experienced Dark Souls player to help them out. Here we've already entered in Majula, and off to the right you can see the Emerald Herald, the person that allows you to level up and to get more Estus flasks. It gives you your first Estus flask. She's very hard she's very easy to miss, rather, and I missed her the first playthrough, and I didn't get to speak to her until like the next 3 bosses, and finally I got an Estus flask. I mean, I don't know why FromSoft decided to put her so far away, and off from your general view. But I mean, I guess maybe that was just kind of like a poor design choice. She gives us our first Estus flask, which will be extremely important throughout the playthrough. And here we go and speak to the blacksmith. Now the blacksmith, we need to go get a key for his workshop and come back, and he's going to be very essential to getting really powerful in the first half hour of the game. And the weapon we'll be using, I mean, he will basically provide us with the needs we'll need to upgrade that weapon and get it sufficient enough for the boss fight. Now here we're going to the actual covenant now, and it's called the Company of Champions Covenant. This covenant is a very strange covenant in that it nullifies any sort of any sort of connectivity positively in your game. So you can't summon, you can't be summoned, not even NPCs will be able to be summoned. The only people that you can play with are invaders, such as dark spirits, blue moon spirits, and whatnot, and you can guess the rest from there. The Champions tablet actually is very interesting in that it's the only recordable object in this game. I mean, you used to have a Book of the Guilty back in Dark Souls 1, and you used to have the Covenant of Chaos, little scripture, and no longer is any of that existent in this game. It's only this tablet for the Company of Champions, and you get a rank in the Company of Champions through killing invading phantoms such as dark spirits and whatnot. And by killing them, you get all stones which you could offer to the Covenant and get ranks in the Covenant. And the more we rank up in the Covenant, the more we will get prizes. And I'll go more in depth into the prizes when we receive our first one. Here we are entering the Forest of the Fallen Giants already, and I mean, it's the first general area. I mean, there's a few areas that you can go to in the beginning of the game. This is the simpler area, in that the enemies are easier to kill and the boss is the easiest to kill. Now, some people prefer to go to Hades Tower of Flame first, but I mean, for me, I think it's easier to get this area out of the way first, and then move on to Hades Tower of Flame. Now to the right of this area is your first bonfire in the Forest of the Fallen Giants. This bonfire isn't, that guy surprised me when I was playing. This bonfire isn't really too important. I mean, I never really specifically use it too often in my gameplay, but I mean, it's kind of there, I guess. And in this part, I'm showing you, I missed, back in Majula, I missed an Estus flask shard hidden in the depths of a well. Here's the well coming up now. It's essential to get this, and so that you can upgrade your Estus flask. You take it to the Emerald Herald and she'll upgrade your Estus flask. Quick and easy, no trouble needed to get to that Estus flask shard. Just something I missed by being, unattentive. Now that we have 2 Estus flasks, it'll be easier for us. Our survivability goes up, maybe 50%. So coming up here now, we're going to encounter our first enemy, the most essential enemy that we need to kill, the Catered Knight. Now, he drops a specific weapon that we really need to use, and I'm going to show you how to kill him. Now, you can go up to the right here, and when you go off to the right, you see that item down there on that little hill, rock, whatever. You jump down, make sure you do it right or you'll die immediately, and you pick up the item. You can get 10 throwing knives. Now these are very important if you're going to fight the Catered Knight, because they do an amount of damage that's pretty substantial, and you can just kind of kite him whilst backing up. Now this is where I actually fight him to show you my strategy. Because I chose the bandit class, I have a bow and I have 25 arrows. Mind you, it won't be enough to kill him, but it will dwindle his health down a substantial amount to at least like a fourth of his health left, and then we can just finish them off with our main weapon, or maybe use the throwing knives that we collected earlier. As you can see, I'm running out of arrows already, and he's still at 1/4 of his health. This basically shows you just how hard the Company of Champions made this game, because before, I played a playthrough before this without being in the Covenant, and he died at like 20 arrows. And you can see just the amount of damage he did to me in one swing. I mean, 2 swings, and that had been the end of me. Now, the High Knight Sword is very important, and I'll talk about that later. Here we get up to our 3rd bonfire, the more essential bonfire. I believe it's called the Cardinal Tower bonfire. I believe that's what it's called. And in the Cardinal Tower, we have our first merchant. Now, this merchant is very important in that she sells us the workshop key that the blacksmith needed. Once you've got the key, now you can go back to Majula and talk to the blacksmith. Once you speak to him, once you open the door and speak to him, a new event will be activated, and he will actually move into the workshop and begin, hammering at his wares and whatnot. Once you open this door, there is a bow inside, if you hadn't gotten a bow by starting off with the bandit class. You can level up your dexterity to get to the requirements that are necessary for the bow and begin using the bow, or you can just ignore it. But I find it very useful and a very easily approachable fight with the enemies that are coming up. Here I show you that I leveled up 2 times in order to wield the sword that we had gotten earlier, and I will be showcasing the sword and its properties. 2 times is enough for me. I don't know, depending on what build you chose. I mean, I don't know how many swords you'll need, but this is where I actually showcase the sword. It's called the Catered Knight Sword, and it deals elemental damage in the form of lightning as well as physical damage. And now this is very overpowered for the first few sections of the game. And it's a standard straight sword, but it's just a very strong standard straight sword. And it will be helping us out throughout the game. Going back to the Cardinal Tower, we can go up these steps and break down a door to enter a room in which gives us access to another room that has an Estus flask shard. At first it looks like it's locked, but after a few beats with your sword, you can enter the room and proceed to the chest that's beyond and grab and pick up the Estus flask shard. We also pick up a white soapstone, but we don't need that because we are in the company of champions. Coming to this area outside, down the stairs, down the ladder from the bonfire, we can enter into this area, and rolling properly gets you down to this section, skipping a lot of enemies and a lot of just running around, and then you can lunge and plunge attack this enemy right here, not have to deal with him. When we jump down here and go to the left, there will be a boulder that will roll down, and it's fatal immediately, but the AI that rolls the boulder down usually kills himself in the process. Don't go to the right, there's a pit down there, and that pit is just ugly. I died by it the first time. It's just, you can miss it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Kale. I'm a traveler like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map. Were you looking for that map? Wonderful. Then you're fascinated by maps, just like me. Shame on you. You should have told me before. Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out here.
Once you get the key, you can go back immediately to Majula by using a homeward bone or just walking back. And you can warp to Majula and go open up the mansion that he spoke of before. The mansion itself has an Estus flask shard and a soul vessel, and a couple of other items, miscellaneous items throughout the house. Now the Estus flask shard is what we're looking for really, so that we can heal faster and get more Estus flasks to help us survive the upcoming areas. Do be careful though, because there is a skeleton. As you can see, I equipped the shield here and got lucky with that parry and healed most of his health. Well, I mean at least more than 1/4 of his health. Try not to get cocky with the skeleton because he is a very strong and formidable enemy very early on in the game. I mean, you're not going to kill him with a mace or a hand axe anytime soon. Here to the right is the Estus flask we spoke of, and then to the left in the chest we have our soul vessel, our first soul vessel that allows us to reallocate our points into maybe something more suitable for our build. So that's for later on into the game. Going back up this little tree stem here, we encounter our first boss, named the Pursuer. Now the Pursuer is a very tough boss to fight this early on, and it's not, I don't really recommend you fighting him this early, but if you are, bold enough, there he goes off with his eagle. If you're bold enough, you can go ahead and fight him, but he's very strong. Using proper rolling and maybe good kiting, you can, dodge his attacks and deal, pokes here and there, but his speed and just like his attack damage is just so outrageous. And this enemy kept weirding me out because it was glitching, running through kind of against the ledge, but I didn't want him to sneak up on me and kill me, so I kept trying to attack him, and that led to a mistake of mine that led to my death. Do keep in mind that the Pursuer spawns only once on this here box area. He does not spawn again after this, so just keep that in mind. Using a firebomb in this area allows us to open up a shortcut to the bonfire. There was a unit up on the corner ledge of the square area that usually throws firebombs at you, and you can lure it, or you can use your own firebomb. Here we buy a Pharaoh's Lockstone from the merchant and use it on this Pharaoh's Lockstone. This in turn opens up this illusory area that gives us a very important ring that we're going to need for the upcoming playthrough, which is the Chloranthy ring, which rejuvenates endurance, well, stamina rather, quicker. And we pick up the life ring as well to give us a bonus in health. Here I show you just how to kill the Turtle Knight. By using a firebomb, you can dwindle most of his health, and after that just lure him into the crossbows that we had found earlier in the Pharaoh's Lockstone room. Usually you should get into on the middle one, or perhaps the one on the right of the middle one. But here we use the middle one to dwindle the last of his health away, so that we can ensure the kill.
It's high time that I pick up
If
on
you
this.
continue to speak to the blacksmith and waste all her dialogue, she will in turn move to Majula and give you a covetous soul serpent ring. Up here in the merchant's room, you can get a Titanite shard, which will be very important for the Hide Knight sword, because we're going to upgrade it to, I believe it's +4 maybe, or +5. We're going to upgrade it. You can also purchase some Titanite shards from the blacksmith himself. He only sells 10 throughout the whole game, but those 10 can be used to your advantage. You can see here that I go ahead and buy some off of him so that I can upgrade my Hide Knight sword a bit more. Now, buying all 10 is a bit expensive, so I bought only one, just to save more money for myself. I'll buy the rest later on in the playthrough. Here I finally upgrade it to +3, and then you can use your large Titanite, or you can save it for another weapon if you have another one in mind, but I don't, so I use mine and basically make my weapon a beast in combat. Now we're finally going to get to the actual boss area and finally beat the boss. At this point, you can go ahead and equip any sort of throwing item, such as the witching urns, and go ahead and try to use them against the boss. Now, before you get completely scared and freak out and panic and die to this boss, I'll give you the tips. This boss is extremely easy. All you have to do is just bait out his stomping attack and just hit the other leg while he's stomping and roll out of the way before the actual contact of his foot to the floor, because there is an AoE effect. Now, that's all you basically have to do throughout this whole fight. It's just strafe, hit his leg, strafe, hit his leg. When he tears his arm off in this certain section, which is when you get to his half health point, he becomes vulnerable for quite an amount of seconds. I'll say like 3 seconds, and you can just start wailing at his legs, and it'll just dwindle down his health extremely well. And just this boss to me is too easy, it would seem, for a first boss, if you have the proper weapons. And our weapon, as you can see, completely destroyed him. Thank y'all for watching, and tune in for the next video.